Hey cats, it's Ed, Heatwave Bud here. Today taking a closer look at the On CLOUDBOOM ECHO 3. This is one very light, very sleek shoe from On. Lots of people still opt for the Vaporfly 2 and the Adios Pro 3. Is there a reason you should go for this one? Let's investigate the On CLOUDBOOM ECHO 3. Thanks very much for tuning in, people. It is always appreciated. Thanks also to On for sorting me out with a pair of these to test out. They have fired me a pair, though they are not paying me to make this video for you. They have actually insisted that I give you my very honest opinions, and that's what I'm going to do. This one's only coming in at 253 grams or 9 ounces on the money for my UK 11, US 11.5. As running shoes go, this one's got quite a nice odour out the box. And after I've had it on foot, it still smells alright. And if you're thinking, man, that guy needs to get out a bit, if you like running shoes, you'll know what I'm talking about. I am measuring 43mm back here in the heel, and there's about 34 here in the forefoot. So it's pretty much exactly on spec for On reckon you're going to get out the box on their website. It's about a 9mm drop. Does feel quite aggressive to me actually on foot at speed. There's about 10.9 centimeters at the widest point in the forefoot and about 7.9 here in the heel. So it does make for one of the more narrow running shoes out there. It feels closer to me to something like the Takumi Sen 8, or really the original Vaporfly 4% from Nike. I have a short A durometer softness reading here for the midsole foam of 22. It's called Helion HF foam, which might just stand for Helion foam, perhaps. I'm not sure. They have confirmed it is a pebax based material. I'm not sure it's wholly pebax, but it does have that similar ZoomX sort of squash about it. A little bit more firm though. Still, 22 is way below the average of 28, which is across all the shoes that I've tested so far. When you consider the foam that you get in the Invincible run from Nike is like a 23 or something, then that tells you all you need to know about this stuff. I would note that there is quite a thick layer, like paint or something, over the top of the foam that seems to present some sort of barrier, I suppose, to try and improve the longevity of the foam. Outsole rubber, very thin here. There's only about 2mm of it across the shoe, and I've got a softness score of that rubber of about 62, though it does seem to vary dependent on the area of the shoe you test. We'll hit it with the upper first. Upper-wise, this is really something. Best On shoe certainly that I've tested out so far. A very lightweight design with very minimal mesh and very few harder elements aside from the heel counter. There is an overlay around the heel here which I think is there to perhaps provide a little bit more structure. Materials overall very soft and very comfortable. Though a few may find the very aggressive lateral curve here in the toe box makes the shoe perhaps a little bit too narrow. I would say it isn't one for those with particularly wide feet. The tongue is partially gusseted on one side and then kind of stitched into the other part of the upper on the other side. I didn't get any tongue slide here, though On are still keeping it minimal with the tongue padding. You can see from this shot here, it just about gets to those final eyelets. So if you are using a runner's knot, just be aware that you might get a bit of lace tension right at the top of your foot there. You don't want those laces biting into your foot like a hungry mongrel. There's a medial side strip here to help lock the shoes upper around your foot, and I found the upper to be really breathable. We've got a crazy heat wave over here in the UK right now. It's punishingly hot during the day. When it gets up to about 3 or 4 PM, it's just pointless trying to do anything really. A lot of running shoe uppers just simply won't be up to scratch, but this one's been superb actually running in some warmer temperatures. So perhaps if you're in that type of environment, the upper on the CLOUDBOOM ECHO 3 could be ideal. Now the laces here, the laces, they are the new gold standard as far as I'm concerned. They feature some type of silicone element within the lace itself, helps them to bind together. When you tie them up, you've got a nice bit of friction there and they just seem to hold together in place. It's a unique and really awesome feature here from On. I'm perhaps going to call it the CB3 just for simplicity now. Lace length is considered and I applaud On for getting it just right. You haven't got loads and loads of excess lace here hanging around once you've tied them up. I found it really comfortable on foot. I don't think I've got any major concerns really, just that tongue padding. I wish there was a tiny little bit more at the top, so it's not quite Cinderella stuff, but it's close. I'll give it a 2.8 out of 3 for the upper after my initial runs. If you're enjoying this review, people, please help us to reach 100,000 subscribers by hitting that subscribe button. Also click the bell for notifications too. Give this video a thumbs up like, you know it makes sense. Midsole now. So we do have a much softer, sort of responsive foam here in this On shoe. It's not really like the Cloud Monster or the Cloud Stratus 3. Now, the midsole base is narrow here. I can't recommend this shoe for people that have a very wide foot. You may be sort of coming off the edge. It's much closer to something like the Vaporfly 4% underfoot than monster truck like Alphafly shoes. If you need that sort of stability under the heel there with a bit of extra width, then it's not the shoe for you. It feels like a race shoe, and it does appear that On are trying to sort of control your expectations a bit of what you'll get out of this. On the box it does say it has a lifespan of about 4 marathons, so equates to just over 100 miles, and that 100-mile figure is close to where I feel a lot of super shoes start to lose their magic somewhat, lose the pop and the explosive feel. Not all of them, mind you. Some of the Adidas models seem to get better and better the more you use them. I guess only time will tell if the CBE3 is within that sort of realm. Gonna put that on the back burner for the time being though, and say that I find this absolute dynamite at pace. I mean, this is going to be one for your premium sort of sessions during the week and for racing. Very few people will probably have a wallet that enables them to wear this on a daily basis. I gotta say, I found it stable, I found it engaging, and I found it very exciting to run in. Now, there is a significant rocker here, and you don't have that squash like something along the lines of the Vaporfly has. It feels a little bit closer to the Takumi Sen to me, or perhaps their Farstar Nitro Elite from Puma, maybe even the Adios 8. I mean, even the profile of the shoe is quite close to that 3-stripe model. You have to bear in mind that that one sold for like 120 quid. So certainly if you liked the Vaporfly 4% or the Sen 8, for example, this could be right up your street. I'm not entirely sure I'd want to wear it for a marathon. It's quite an aggressive shoe for me. It wants me to run quickly. I think I'll probably end up going out way too quick in this one. But for a half marathon and below, oh yeah. Now the CB3 does have a secret weapon in terms of the insole. It's got silicone-like strips on the forefoot area which help you grip and push forward. It's such a cool addition, and I'm really pleased that On are thinking of some new features here, something to sort of put the shoe in a different place than the others, rather than just simply regurgitating the same old foam and carbon plate kind of cookie cutter thing. They've done something different, and I like it. Now, if you don't like aggressive arches in your midsoles, then you're going to really like the CBE3. That midsole doesn't creep up too much around that arch area, or around any part of the foot really. All of the foam is underfoot. It doesn't feel like it's wasted at all. I can understand why certain brands do that for a containment sort of feature, but when you're talking race shoes, you just want that foam underfoot. I found these dynamite for some 6-minute reps at half marathon effort, but also some 15-minute intervals at threshold effort too. The shoe's lightness and its nimble nature enable you to get up to those paces with relative ease, and I found that the shoe's profile actually improves the sort of range of motion I've got in the ankle, perhaps in a way that's similar to the Asics Metaspeed Sky. At what would be my half marathon pace and below, I can see this shoe working wonderfully. It doesn't have the squash of the Vaporfly 3 or the Endorphin Pro 3. It's one for the people that love that firmer, more responsive ride. So if you like Light Strike Pro shoes, or perhaps the stuff with Flight Foam Turbo, then this is one you should really check out. I'll give it a 2.8 out of 3 after testing. It's not a marathon shoe for me, but I'm certainly going to test it out over all the other distances. Outsole now. We do have a bit of exposed midsole here, and sadly the outsole I think is going to be the Achilles heel of the shoe. It's perhaps the thinnest application of rubber I've seen on a race shoe of recent time. Sadly, I already have a little bit of damage to that exposed midsole round here on the lateral side of the shoe with that rubber piece. I wouldn't suggest it's going to come away from the shoe, but there's certainly a little bit of compression there with the foam. It's always like that with pebax midsoles. It seems really tough to stick anything to them. I have to say the rubber and traction here is very, very good, very grippy. This is a race shoe for the road, for pavements, and I think again that On are doing a little bit of preliminary work there to try and control your expectation of how many miles you might get out of this shoe before it self-destructs. Now, I've got to be honest, loads of people complain about the durability of the Vaporfly 3. I didn't really see that this time round. It actually held up pretty well in terms of the outsole. Will this one do that as well? It certainly seems they've used a very similar sort of approach. I mean, you could suggest they could get the rubber coming back a little bit further here into the heel, or perhaps to the sides. Maybe they'll do that with a fourth version. I mean, you can't have it all. Super longevity and durability in a race shoe that's got this sort of weight. You've just got to find a balance that's acceptable. Clearly, the major part of the rubber here is focused in that sort of push-off area. Mid to forefoot, it really is a great design. I found this fine on the warm, dry weather days. Absolutely no moisture around at the moment, so I can't really speak from experience in terms of wet conditions. Already seeing a little bit of wear in the heel area here and to that exposed midsole. Nothing here up front though, it's all good. I was a little bit alarmed to see some of the paint peeling away from the foam, but that just happens with this type of foam. I've seen it many times before. So I don't think that the CBE3 is going to be the most durable race shoe. I can see perhaps why they've put those warnings in about the longevity. I'll give it a 2.6 out of 3 for the outsole after my initial runs. We gotta talk value now. I have to be honest with you, I have not watched any other reviews about this shoe before. Just coming at it with a fresh perspective here. At 260 Earth credits here in the UK, it's a very, very premium price. I mean, that's 10 quid more than the Prime X2 and quite a bit more than the Vaporfly 3 and the Adios Pro 3 as well. It does make it a slightly perplexing price point really for the CBE3. Perhaps if it was priced a little bit closer to the big two, it might be a slightly easier sell. I mean, you might not get on with either of those models, so perhaps you're watching this video to see if it's worth picking this one up. It's certainly a quick shoe though, but perhaps one you're going to burn through a bit faster than some of the others. I mean, I've only got a bit of paint sort of shedding off the midsole here after 13% of its expected life. I think it's really down to upper fit and comfort in your race shoe. It's got to fit your foot. You've got to feel like you can produce your top speeds. I certainly feel like I can do that in the On CLOUDBOOM ECHO 3. It's got the best performances out of me. Fits like a glove, actually. So I guess that could mean that it's a great value shoe really. It's going to get the best from me in a race type situation. I have to say, build and design of the shoe are spot on. There's no dodgy glue marks anywhere, no pieces that have been poorly stitched. It does feel like a nice premium item. I mean, it's a high price when you've got some of the tried and tested models out there that are coming in quite a bit less right now. Certainly on the Adios Pro 3, the discounts are huge. I'll give it a 2.6 out of 3 for value so far after my initial runs. We just don't know how this is going to hold up over time. If I've totaled the scores up correctly, that gives us a 10.8 out of 12 after my initial runs for the On CLOUDBOOM ECHO 3. I can run like absolute stink in this shoe. There's just something about it that seems to work for my sort of running style. Have you picked it up? Have you tested it? Is it one that you're perhaps looking out for a discount for in the future? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. A musical interlude for you. This is a track for your speed sessions. It's not one to put on if you're intent on sort of going out on a nice easy recovery run. Go and check out Chrome and Time, the Slammer. This is a proper old school sort of jungle track, Amen Brothers breakbeat, over and over and over, loads of energy and loads of drive. It's kind of like a Roland TB33 sort of acid synth line going at the start. Some of those old school hardcore strikes. You've got some reggae-like fills that come in occasionally, and some sort of sped up vocals. They're not too chipmunkish to make them irritating. They're just right, they do what they have to do. It's just one of those best kind of early hardcore jungle type tracks before it got really annoying and irritating with these horrible pianos and stuff. It had a bit of decorum about it, uncouth sort of decorum, I guess. It's sort of like the Johnny Rotten of Jungle Tracks. DJ Chrome and Times, the Slammer. Thanks for tuning in, people. It is always appreciated. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Hit that subscribe button. Also give this video a thumbs up like. My name's Eddbud, and I'll be seeing you